Hi guys, I thought I'd do something different and do a video just changing things up instead of just always having something to read. I thought you guys would like to see my face. So I thought about what I would have liked to know before we bought our two houses. So we have two houses. The first we bought in 2010 in Baltimore, and for the last 5 years, it's been a rental. We didn't plan it that way. And then in 2013, we bought a house in Texas where we live now. I don't think we really knew what we were doing. When we bought our first house, we were like pretty much fresh out of college, had just gotten married, and we didn't seek the advice of our parents, which was a really bad idea. In 2013, when we bought this house, we kind of ended up doing the same thing, just buying a house because we thought that was the right thing to do or the good thing for our money. Or, you frequently hear like, hey, why don't I just, buy a house instead of paying rent? But, I've come to realize there's way more that goes into buying a house, like, than just paying, a mortgage. And actually, that could be one of the points. I didn't put that down there, but, that should be one of the points. Like, there is more to, paying your mortgage than just the principal of the loan. But, I can get further into that, in another post if you guys want. But so I'm just going to hit you guys with these, 5 points that I came up with. Just something really quick that I just, thought of real off the top of my head. I kind of wrote it down. But the first one I do think is probably most important, but the rest are in no particular order. So, okay, the first is location, location, location. And you've probably heard that said before, but it's so true that location, where you buy your property, whether that be for investment like a rental property or house that you plan to live in, location is really important. The neighborhood that you buy in. Any business, any investment has risk. That's just the nature of business. There are times where you can make a more educated and wise investment, and then there are times when maybe not much thought went into it and you just threw your money away. Real estate can be a very smart investment, but you're more likely to have a resale in a more desirable neighborhood. And how you can pick out those more desirable neighborhoods is things like the school district. How strong is the school that is in your neighborhood, like the academics there, and people wanting to put their kids in that school. If people want that school, then they are going to want to live by that school, and which increases your house's desirability because of location. Another way you can pick out if a neighborhood is more stable or desirable is how well do the residents keep up their property? Are their lawns mowed and tended to? How well does the community there take care of their property? Like, they pick up trash and things like that. Are they active? So location is king, and that is true. And that's not something we kind of knew at buying our first house in Baltimore. Thank God. I feel like that the neighborhood there is going to change around, but it's taken a long time. Like I said, we've had that house since 2010, and we're just now seeing little glimpses of hope for the neighborhood, because there were many times where we were just like, why did we buy here? And so yeah. Number 2, good real estate agents. Not all real estate agents are created equally. And you want a real estate agent when you're looking for your property whose vision is going to align with yours, or who's going to help you realize your vision and attain that vision that you have. So for instance, say you want to stay in within a certain budget. I mean, you know what you can afford, and you really shouldn't buy more than you can afford. So a real estate agent who is trying to upsell you, like, hey, no, this type of house or that type of house that is $10,000 more, because let's just face it, like, real estate agents are paid on commission. So the higher price you buy your house at, the more money they're gonna make. They split it with the seller's agent, so keep a lookout for that. And also not let a real estate agent push you into like a certain type of house you don't want, or things. Like, it's important that, like, your real estate agent is working for you. Number 3, when you buy a house, there are what I call big ticket items, like that when they break down, because they will, it's just a matter of when they break down, it's going to cost you a lot of money to replace. So things like the roof, the HVAC, and the air conditioning, those things, like anything, have an age limit, like where it's like, they need to be maintained or replaced. Those are things to keep in mind when you're buying a house. Like, how old are those things? Because if they weren't replaced recently, then you're going to need money to do those things. And that's something that, like, when buying a house, you don't really consider. I know for sure me and Hart, like, really didn't think about those things. So in buying a house, keep in mind that you might have to shell out some dough for that. And those things ain't cheap. Like, those things cost thousands of dollars. Like, we have a flat roof in Baltimore, and that cost us $4,000. $4,000. Okay. For just a flat roof. Like, flat. There are no shingles. If you're not expecting that, like, you'll go scrambling to get that money, and loans, and just a mess of things, Next is research the process of buying a house. Like, what is all entailed? Like, how long does it take? What type of credit score is the best to have? And ask people who have been through the process what they think. What do they think about the house you're considering, if you already have one in mind, or the neighborhood, or what their experience has been, like what they liked and what they did like. Can they recommend a real estate agent? Like, all those type of things. Like, people can help. I have a snack now. Sorry. People who have been through the process, like, can help you. And also Google. Like, Google has become people's best friend. Google is, really helpful, but you can't know what to look for if you don't know what you're looking for. Does that make any sense? Okay. And then number 5, and the last one, is to think about what you want to do with that property. Short term, long term. Is this a property, like, this is like your dream house and you're staying there for a very long time, 10 plus years? Is this a house that's just kind of like a starter home or intermediary? Is that a word? Like, do you plan to be there for 5 years or maybe even shorter? Do you plan for this house to be a stepping stone to a rental? What is your goal for the house? And that will kind of also, like, determine certain things. Like, for instance, like, if you plan for this house to be a rental, you don't put, I guess unless you're doing a luxury rental, but normally if you're planning a house for rental, you're not putting luxury finishes, in your rental home. if you buy it out of the gate for that purpose, like, you know, you want the house to look nice, but you want, you know, the finishes and materials you use to be, you know, affordable for you, you know, because it helps you with, you know, the return and things like that. But, you know, if you're planning to live in a house longer, then, you know, maybe you want to put the vavoom in, you know, the house, and the marble and the granite, or the, you know, things that cost a little more money. You know, you just have to kind of have a plan, you know, before you buy a house. And I don't know if we had that type of plan, like especially when we bought our first house. Like, is this short term? Is this long term? How long do you plan to live here? And something that happened to us with both houses that we bought is that usually I would find the houses, like, we used, like, you know, a website like Zillow. I would find the house and I'm just like, oh yeah, let's go see this house. I love it. And then somehow this whirlwind of a process happens, and we buy a house, and my husband is saying, I don't really like this house, or I don't really like this neighborhood. It's like, what? Like, having an intentional plan is important. So those are my 5 tips. Let me know if you guys like this video. Did you find it helpful? Would you like to see more of this type of stuff? I love talking about this type of stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and have a nice day. Bye.